she is. There she is. All right, hello, my name is Matthew Bergman. For my informative speech, I decided to talk about something that I hadn't had a huge understanding of prior to doing the research. It was why World War II began. So although World War II was only 6 years long, spanning from 1939 to 1945, there were actions that took place prior to, we good? Okay, prior to World War II, actions that would secure the war's inevitability. So the first stone that caused the ripple that was World War II was that of the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed in 1919, but became effective in 1920, nearly 20 years before World War II had begun. This treaty was a valued peace treaty that had ended the First War, but the treaty would also force Germany into taking responsibility for World War I. In doing so, it would cripple Germany in three different ways: through economics, through their military, and through their territory. To break this down, the treaty was set in place to ensure that Germany would no longer become a threat to the rest of the world. In this way, Germany's economical position of having to assume full responsibility for the war forced them to pay amounts that the nation couldn't afford. Amounts that ranged around $31.4 billion in the damages caused. For its territory, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum tells us that in the West, Germany returned Alsace-Lorraine to France, Belgium received Eupen and Malmedy, if I'm even saying these correctly, and Denmark received northern Schleswig, and in the East, Poland received parts of West Prussia and Silesia. Czechoslovakia received the Holstein district, and Memel, which is a small strip of territory in East Prussia along the Baltic Sea, was ultimately placed under Lithuanian control. In Germany, in all, Germany lost about 13% of its European territories, averaging about 27,000 square miles and 1/10 of its population, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that 1/10 covered about 6.5 to 7 million people. As for Germany's armies, the treaty forced the Rhineland to demilitarize and reducing Germany's armed forces into only having 100,000 men with no submarines, no aeroplanes, and only 6 battleships. However, it would not be long for things to start leaning back into Germany's favor through a man named Adolf Hitler who would be sure of this. Hitler was active in the political arena after his role of serving in 1919 in World War I, being part of the Nazi Party through determination, smooth talking, charisma, and for his brutal, violent, and disturbing military tactics, he started Germany on the path of world domination. Although the treaty was signed in 1919 and Hitler did have his place leading up to this, it was only in 1933 that Hitler really started building Germany back up. In January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany. His Nazi Party, or the Third Reich, took power, and Hitler was essentially the dictator of Germany. In October 1936, Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy formed what is known as the Rome-Berlin Axis Treaty. In 1936 November, Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan signed what is called the Anti-Comintern Pact, if I pronounce that right, which was a pact against communism in Russia, which caused a little bit of friction between Germany and Russia. 1937, Japan invaded China, and in 1938, the big one happened, which was when Germany and Hitler annexed Austria into Germany, thus beginning his tyranny over what he wanted to be the entire world and the next 6 years of the war, which we know is World War II. So in conclusion, the treaty that was set in place in order to keep Germany from becoming a bigger threat single-handedly was responsible for the damage that Germany did. Thank you.